a sudden you got into dangerous political.
He
was looking for a save.
Landmines like color, because you better not say
personal. You can't say, don't say colored people. You don't say colored people, just person of color.
If you're a person of color, then you should care, because the DACA Act, it started in 2008 whenever Barack Obama finally understood that there was a huge population of children that were 16 years or younger. They came into this country and they grew up in this country. So I came to the U.S. in 2001, and with the DACA Act, the Deferred Action of Childhood Arrivals was able to give me a Social Security. It was able to give me a license for work, a license to drive. And the fact that Trump was using the DACA Act as a power move in order to get the wall built. Right. So he was threatening like the left wing side, or like just the U.S. in general. Like, hey, if y'all don't help me build this wall, then I'm going to deport all these children. And we're no longer children, Oscar.
I love it.
23-year-old strong lesbian looking man.
Lesbian looking man.
I'm up here, pretty American. You send me to El Salvador. I'm going to tell jokes and comedy to donkeys, chickens, cows, all of it. Somebody's going to extort me for money.
So how young is the youngest DACA recipient?
You could be 1, 2, a
still
fetus.
So recent.
A fetus?
Not really. Yeah. You can be conceived.
No, but I'm saying so there's still being DACA people brought in.
So the DACA Act right now, and currently, if you were a 16-year-old immigrant that just got here to the U.S., it will be hard for you to apply for the DACA Act, because that was something that was happening during Barack Obama's administration, right? So it's pretty impossible to get that liberty. And I actually have the DACA card that they give you, and I hate that it says the word alien on here. That's why I have a bit about me being ET, but this is the employment authorization card that they give you. So this is the lifeline. Because of this card, I'm able to stay in this country, and the win yesterday felt good, because now I don't have to marry somebody.
Right. So now you don't have to get married.
Yeah.
Well, I remembered it was kind of weird. I have my radio voice on today for real.
Oh no, you do.
Wow, damn. So I was talking to someone, and I was at a salsa place.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's like, hey, Miss Salinas wants to see you. I'm like, who the hell is Miss Salinas that she should come to me? They're like, no, you come to Miss Salinas. It's that kind of deal, right? I'm like, okay, I knew the guy, right?
Yeah.
So I walk over and there's a lady sitting there, and she's like kind of like she's got like an air of just like this je ne sais quoi, this mystique, older lady smoking this cigarette, Spanish. She's got big guys around her, so I'm like, hi, how are you?
Right.
Better charm her, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And so she looks at me, she says, are you a citizen? And I said, yes, just recently became a citizen because I had a green card. Just like you.
Dog.
I had a green card, but I didn't want to change my green card because, to be honest, I loved how quick I could go in and out of the country because the foreign line was never as long as the American line.
Right.
So I used to travel all the time, but I got in and out. So I never changed to but I had been here since I was very young, so it was a done deal.
Right.
Anyway. So yes, I have my citizenship, and she looks at me. She says, "Then you can marry my daughter." And I looked at her like, "Excuse me?" And she says, "I will give you $10,000."
Was her daughter a lesbian?
I didn't know. The daughter.
Were you trying
the daughter wasn't even there. She says, "You will never have to meet her. We will do the paperwork, and then she will naturalize, and we'll end it."
That's some like Asian Middle Eastern accents, right?
She was, and she was just so business.
So she's a boss?
Her daughter to be naturalized,
right?
So then. I said, thank you, but no thanks. I think they were Colombians. That scared the hell out of me.
Exactly. I'm like, is this a drug boss?
You never know what you're dealing with.
Right.
And I'm going to marry her daughter?
Right.
Wow. So I said, no. I politely said no. And then she goes, okay, I will give you 15. I said, no, it's not really the money. It's at 20. And then I was like,
well, I mean, you know, what time you want me to be there?
When she gets up to 50 G's, I'm going to be like, hola, papi, ¿cómo está? Me llamo Oscar. Will you marry me?
That's 2 Corolla Toyotas. What, 2 guys?
You know what? Yeah, and I have known Oscar for years, and I just thought you just a regular old black man.
No, I'm a little flavor. I'm a Spanish guy that looks like a black guy that talks like a black guy.
Hey, you got all the passes.
I got it all, man. I'm gonna even claim Asian because I'm smart.
Yeah. You know what?
You see, that's where you step the line, and you will be fired if you were a Costco manager.
A Costco manager.
Yeah.
Hey, look, I try not to discriminate. I love everybody, but when I was in corporate, you know, you did some corporate stuff, right?
Absolutely.
And you got to be very politically correct
inside
that space.
You have to.
Did you ever get into a compromising situation where you painted yourself in a corner and you were almost getting ready to be Shanghai?
Oh no! You know what? I don't believe so. I think I have really been able to be politically correct. I know not to ask people's ages and, you know, what disease you got and why you went to the hospital. Those are the things you can't. You cannot ask those things. You know what I mean?
Well, so we have a mutual friend that can confirm this story.
Okay.
I put my foot in my mouth so bad one time. It was crazy. So I'm a corporate director. Right. I've got 35 people working under me. And one of the on Fridays we had casual Friday,
right? Of course,
I inherited the position, so I didn't hire everybody that was in the position. So now I've got a bunch of rogue kids not kids, they're all adults, you know, people in their 50s and 60s, but some of them were in their 20s. And one of them, a young girl, you know, she was a mixed girl. Bubblicious booty and all that. I mean, she was all
booty,
that.
Some
and so she was wearing these ridiculously tight, inappropriate jeans. Okay. And I needed to tell her as the director, do not wear that kind of. You can wear jeans this Friday, but don't wear jeans.
But don't wear them. They can't look painted on.
When she bent over, you saw plumber's crack for miles. And when she was standing up, you saw everything else for miles. Okay, so she's passing by my office, and I call her in.
You saw a camel?
Yeah, he saw he saw a camel toe.
This is exactly how it went down. So she comes in, and I said, listen, those jeans you're wearing are inappropriate, so it'd be best to wear something a little more modest. But what you talking about? These are nice jeans. These are my favorite jeans. I'm like, listen, it's inappropriate. It's a little bit too tight. It's a little bit too revealing. But what do you mean revealing? Look, I mean, it looks fine. And I said, even for like the front. And then I said, when you bent over, you know, you were exposed. So I'm trying.
You tried everything to say this right.
Way to tell this little dingleberry what was up. And she wasn't hearing me. So then finally,
you're turning everyone on.
And I said, you got camel toe. All right.
You got it. But where you gonna be at? Where you gonna be at? You gonna be at later? You fired, but I'm gonna call you after. You wanna go to Arby's?
No, she was a child. I mean,
okay.
I get creeped out with any. I can't even date somebody that's close to my daughter's age.
Right? That is creepy.
My daughter's in her 30s, so
that makes one of you.
But even then, no, I was not. You are some kind of weirdo. No. But the thing is, she ends up like. The door was cracked. I didn't close it completely. And somebody was walking by that hated me.
It heard you. And
overheard that part of the conversation. The next thing I know, I'm in my boss's office the next morning, and that dude hated me. If it wasn't for the fact that I was the top producing manager in his district, he was trying to find a reason to fire me. He hated because Chicago guys like Oscar, you know, you're
hey, what you mean by Chicago?
He's a white dude. He looked like he would have been like Officer Crunky back in the day. His name was Bone Steel. Can you imagine a name like that, Bone Steel?
Bone Steel.
Yeah, Bone Steel. And he looks at me and he says, he was so delighted. Like I saw him squirming in his seat and I walk in and I'm like, what the hell is going on right now? And my boss is in there, my direct boss, and him. That's when you know that.
And HR?
Oh, well, HR was in corporate.
Okay.
They already called HR.
Okay.
That's why they're having the meeting with me.
Right. They're trying to make sure they're not going to get
We
sued.
understand that you said to an employee that they had camel toe. And they said it and I was like processing it, and I was like, oh, well, what happened? And I started explaining the whole thing. I said, she didn't get it. She doesn't understand when you tell her in corporate language,
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I didn't say anything.
You got camel toe.
We can see your whole vagina. Sometimes it's better to just, in corporate situations, sometimes it's better to just be super scientific.
Right.
Scientific. Pull out the fake 3D glasses.
That little baby girl was dumber than a box of rocks. They should never have hired her.
Oh my
I don't
goodness.
know what. And this was a professional position.
You know why they hired her.
This was a professional position. I'm telling you, it was unbelievable. But yeah, so they slid that deal across and said, this is, your understanding of sexual harassment. Should you violate one more thing, you're currently on probation.
Woo!
I was like, wow. I couldn't believe it. But it was a moment of lapse on my part because, your mouth gets ahead of your brain. So corporate, you can get
fed up.
The worst thing that I got in trouble for was pinning. Somebody pinned, on your birthday, they pin money on you. And I don't really know where that started or how long ago that started, but I got in trouble for that. The owner was like, that is, I was a training manager. So he's like, that's tacky. It's like you begging people for money. And I'm like, I didn't even put it on myself. Someone else, another person starts it. Yeah. But he was just like, that is
a celebration.
That is, I was trying to just have a good birthday. You know what I mean?
Dinner out of the deal at least.
At least. I mean, but yeah, I never looked at it like that. I'm like, what's the big deal? But
money.
He had never heard of that.
Right.
You know what I mean? So to him, it was uncouth.
Was he Caucasian or Hispanic?
Yeah.
Okay.
Greek.
So, Greek.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a Greek man.
Yeah. He was just livid. He just was like, who does that?
Yeah.
And I'm like, who doesn't? But that was years ago. I mean, that was like, I don't know, 6 years ago or something.
Wow. No, I think there's a lot to be said about running that ship. Because you really you're not going to be well liked. Half of my team was trying to get rid of me the minute I got into power, so to speak. Yeah. And I ended up firing a lot of people in that job. But
Did it feel good? Did it feel good?
Did you get? No. Listen, I'm
sorry, Tanner,
but I'm not that guy. This is what I did. Okay, so the first day that I came in, people knew me because I was one of them, so to speak.
And you got promoted.
Right. So I came in, and all the staff is in there, and I said, okay, I'd like everybody to pull out a dollar bill. And they're like, okay. So they all start going in and pulling out a dollar bill. Say, okay, pass it forward. That's your first payment. You guys, and of course get a little laugh from that. And I said, okay, take a look at the back of that bill. What do you see? An eagle. What's the eagle holding? Arrows. I said, exactly. What's he holding in the other hand? And they said, it looks like leaves. I said, yeah, those are laurel leaves. So the laurel leaves stand for peace. The arrows represent war.
Yeah.
We're going to build a top producing team. I want every single person in this room to be part of that team. But fully understand which way is the eagle facing. And they said, towards the laurel leaves. I said, yes. Fully understand that I'm going to vie for peace first. But I can wage.
So you expected them to try.
Oh, I knew. I heard the mutiny before I was named supervisor.
You were like that one lion, and you have your pack, and you have these young lions trying to take your females, trying to eat your children.
Oh man, they're like hyenas, the little bastards. They traveled in packs looking for some way. But see, my thing was simple. I was a top producer as a rep. I didn't fool with much of those guys. I was already management material. It was just a matter of them recognizing it and a position opening up. And we ended up breaking records. We broke records, but I had to fire the people that just felt like they were going to act up. So for me, I'm like a cop that's sitting on the side of the highway. As long as you don't go past the speed limit, you're good. But when you do, I'm coming at you.
That's it. That's it.
And that's how a supervisor should be, because you're respected that way.
You are. Yeah.
And the last woman that I fired, and then I'm getting off of this, she gave me the supreme compliment. She said, "Oscar, you are an iron fist cloaked behind a velvet glove."
Oh, that's some Breaking Bad dialogue.
Is
right
it?
There. You remind me of Gustavo Fring from Breaking Bad.
Right.
I've never seen that show.
So she thanked you for firing her.
She thanked you
for letting her go.
And ultimately, it was just not a fit. Some
Yeah.
people, it's not a fit. If you suck at a job, you suck at a job.
You suck at a job. And she was just like, "Thank you for this unemployment. I appreciate it." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You did what you needed to do, and I'm going to go ahead and apply online and
to a wine cooler.
That's
Yeah.
right.
We'll chill for a minute.
Or stay your lazy ass at home and do what you're trying to do and get on my payroll to do. That's
Exactly.
it. But that's that was cool. And she was happy to accept that termination. So I felt good about that fire.
I did corporate for 2 years.
You left out like
2 years. And like I didn't have a management position. I had like a open position. Like I got promoted, right? Like twice. But I was the guy that would go in there. "Oh, Smiles, hi, how you doing? Oh, of course, I want to see a picture of your beautiful white baby." Or "Oh, let me see what. Oh, of course, I want to try
your dog.
Italian. Oh, Parmesan.
Parmesan.
Just so fake. Just
So you were tasting the bland food of your co-workers.
Yeah, cold. Your leftovers? Sure, I'll take them for my family. Oh, of course. I'm gonna feed my nephews. Oh my God, thank you. And like super, super fake, low key, like energy. And people like that.
Yeah.
People like that. I wasn't on anybody's radar. People were going to war in cubicles next to me. What do you mean you don't have the report? Well, whatever. In the meeting, Rebecca said that you were the one that was texting. And I was just sitting there like, "Hey, you guys, what are you going to eat for lunch?"
And in the meantime, you were having mayonnaise sandwiches and happy to take them home.
that's
feed them to the
hilarious.
dogs because you're not giving that to your
We'll
family.
just go home
That is hilarious.
and vape
funny.
something.
Wow.
Vape a little something.
That is too funny.
Yeah.
No,
That's crazy.
corporate
You gotta
life.
survive. It
Is. It's a food chain. I've coached a lot of people through the political. My general modus operandi was that I praised in public and chastised in private. I really subscribe to that. It's so if someone's screwing up, I'm not going to humiliate you in front of a room. That's just not cool. You got people that. And I started something called it was like the Overachievers Club, or it was like a separate deal where instead of it being all about numbers and numerical stuff, I started talking about energy and movement and the law of attraction. And
Did you?
How you shift your energy.
Yes.
And I made it completely voluntary.
Yes.
I said, you could come, not come. You could take your shoes off, put your feet on the desk. You could eat a sandwich. I don't care what you do.
Right.
This is not a corporate meeting.
Right.
It's around lunchtime. You can come, you can not come, but just experience it. I told my whole team, I said, I want you all to come to the first one.
Right.
After that, it is not mandatory.
Right.
And half the team stopped coming.
Okay.
The others that were mostly at the bottom of the rung, some of them were just trying to kiss my butt so I wouldn't terminate.
Oh, that would be me.
But they
If
were
I was
there.
working a corporate situation.
They were there, and their lives started
To
being
change.
transformed. Because we talked about, I asked them to go home and visualize their if corporate
Your
numbers.
success.
I said,
Yes.
see yourself getting
Yes.
in, how many
Future.
enrollments this
Yes.
week, how much you're going to do. And it started manifesting.
Exactly. And that's so
Awesome. That's
important.
awesome.
Like, that's amazing that you even, were able to even get half of the team to do that, especially when it comes to sales, because you have to be able to see where you want to go and visualize that and understand that I mean, energy is a thing. You know what I mean? Like attracts like. If you think that you're unsuccessful, then you're right. If you think you're successful, then you're right.
I mean, you're not gonna run 5 miles if you don't first think, "Man, I'm gonna run 5 miles." It starts in your mind. So
absolutely,
yeah.
They actually did a study too where they like hooked athletes up to like pressure points and stuff, and they're in fired. You know how they stick them things on you, the neurons and everything, and they imagine the race. And all the things in their body still responded as if they were in the actual race.
It's like a crazy visual training. It's like a crazy placebo.
Biofeedback is the biofeedback machine. But
that's what it is. Okay, that's amazing. Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah, because you're right. Their muscles fired in the exact sequence, and that visualization, it becomes real. It becomes real. A lot of people talk about it, but not as many really understand that it's a science. It's not theoretical.
Right.
Once you see something clearly enough in your mind, you actualize it because you start to shift physical matter. Physical
metaphysics.
And all of a sudden, like, you know how you get a call like from your mom or something?
Right. Yes.
She's like, you were like, "Mom, I was just thinking about you. That is so weird. I was going to call you."
Yeah.
And we get that from friends.
Yeah.
No one knows why that happened.
Absolutely.
But there's a science.
It's a complete science behind it. Yeah. And I live my life, by that, and then even, for those that are just only believe in just the Bible and you won't look at anything else, but it's biblical. What a man thinketh, so is he. So whatever you thinking, you become.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, words have power.
Yeah. I think what's really cool about the way that God created this planet, and if you're an atheist, generally speaking, you can't not acknowledge that
your universe is your God.
An intelligent being or an intelligent entity created all this science. So on the Earth itself, there's a magnetic resonance, right? You keep hearing about this 5G stuff. There's a magnetic resonance. That magnetic resonance was discovered by Otto Schumann back in the 1940s, and it came to be known as the Schumann resonance. It's 7.83 hertz.
Okay.
That's that frequency.
Right.
Now, later in the 1970s and 80s, we were able to get sensitive enough equipment to measure our brain frequencies, like what you were just talking about, Tressa, with EKGs and EEGs and so on. And they were able to measure the human resonance at 7.83 hertz, which means that our brain frequency and the Earth's frequency is synchronized. That is not accidental.
It's not accidental. It can be.
I mean, we're from Earth.
In real time, we can transmit thoughts and feelings and emotions to somebody anywhere on the planet.
Right. It gets so deep. It really truly does.
It's gotten to the point where Elon Musk, the creator of SpaceX and also the creator of Tesla. Yeah, he's actually working on technology where you connect to your neurons and you're able through technology you can communicate without speaking, literally speaking with your mind. So it's gonna get weird.
So
it's
Elon Musk's technology is called biohumanism. Like they were training us for this. You remember the $6 Million Man when we were kids?
Right.
Yeah.
Half man, half machine.
Yeah.
That's exactly what
that's
you're
what
talking about.
That's what's happening.
No, my example would be Terminator. I'm not
Right. He's like, I have no idea what the $6 Million Man. Okay.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I just know T3. Arnold Schwarzenegger.
You ever heard of Farrah Fawcett?
No, I have a house faucet. I don't know.
You did not hear.
He got a house faucet.
Now our producers about you. Farrah Fawcett. You heard of Farrah Fawcett. So our producers heard of Farrah.
Right.
Because she was like everybody's pinup, and her poster was everywhere. You know how many little boys whacked off to Farrah Fawcett?
No, but there's a lot of dead babies. A lot of dry babies.
Didn't she pass the same day as either Prince or Michael Jackson or something? What?
Yeah,
I think it was either Prince or Michael. She got lost in the sauce because of someone else was,
really
more famous.
Yeah. Right. Jealousy.
Than Farrah Fawcett. Yeah. But look up Farrah Fawcett later, and you'll see.
Make my
Farrah Fawcett and Bo Derek and all. Yeah. You
I
talking
like me
about,
some Bo Derek too. No, she had the braids. I've never seen a white woman in braids.
and you should, and I want none of you white women to wear the braids.
Look,
Don't do it.
there's some people.
Don't do it. You do that. Look, another comedian, Kev on stage, said, you don't need to have any protective styles for hair that don't need to be protected. Okay, take them braids out and shampoo your hair.
What
daily.
do you think of the people that will argue like, yeah, Tressa, all lives matter, or like that kind of person? They're like, yeah, but white people used to have dress back whenever we were Vikings. We used to have dress, and that's the argument.
That's the argument.
Why white women that burn sage wear dreads?
Look, you know what?
And it's fine now to wear braids if you're a white woman
because of Vikings. I guess you're right.
It says the burn sage.
Burn sage because they're pagans. They're pagans and trying to see whether it's the right time to
not
go to Whole
appropriate
Foods
our
or not.
culture. Okay, if
Yeah.
you're a Viking descent, then hey, okay, I guess I'll let you make it. Whatever.
Okay.
Wow. Well, yeah.
Whatever.
I'm trying
All
to
lives
trigger you
matter.
to that.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you know what they're saying.
there was
Yeah.
there was an entire, I collect, as you probably surmise, trivial information. There was an entire village of, I think it was about 50,000 people, Vikings, a Viking village. This was hundreds of years ago, that they said disappeared.
Really?
And the theory, I mean, disappeared, like not like death,
Right.
not like a
Just
disease,
completely
or just-
disappeared.
they abandoned their city.
Right.
It was a well-established city.
Yeah, yeah.
But the same thing happened with the Mayans. They
Right.
abandoned their
Right.
entire city, and no one knows where they went.
Right.
The theory with these Vikings is that they traveled up towards the north, and they were able to go down into the subterraneous levels of the earth above the North Pole. It is said to have a subterraneous environment that's actually
It has
friendly
its
for
own
humans
atmosphere?
to live in.
Oh, wow.
Like
Really?
like Middle Earth.
Like Middle Earth.
And they
I was
believe that
thinking
they-
maybe they didn't went into a different dimension or something and
Yeah.
they got
Yeah,
lost and then
Yeah, well, then,
know?
so now that I open up that can of
You
worms,
sure?
and you guys are thinking about that, we're gonna take this break, and I don't know what your theory is on aliens. I don't know.
Oh my God! Don't let me start!
No.
Don't let
But
me
it
start!
looks like
seeing
you're-
an alien right here.
This is Friday.
Yes.
This is Friday morning, and Enrique has some torn. You gotta.
I got torn pants. I got torn pant legs.
Enrique over here
All right,
thick.
so we're going to take a break.
you.
You're listening to the Edge Radio Morning Show. We'll be back in just a moment here on 1540 AM.
Edge Radio Network, where we have conscious conversations.
Above the North Pole.
Edge is
It's said
about
to
love,
have
relationships,
a
and
subterraneous.
Edge Radio is for everyone
Actually,
and about
Its
everyone.
own atmosphere. Whoa.
Edge
Really?
Like Middle Earth.
Like Middle Earth.
And they
I was thinking maybe they didn't went into a different dimension or something and they got lost and then
Yeah, well, then, so now that I open up that can of worms, and you guys are thinking about that, we're gonna take this break, and I don't know what your theory is on aliens. I don't know.
oh my God! Don't let me start! Don't let me start!
It looks like
Seeing an alien right here.
This is Friday.
Yes.
This is Friday morning, and Enrique has some torn. You gotta.
I got torn pants. I got torn pant legs.
Enrique over here
All right,
thick.
so we're going to take a break. You're listening to the Edge Radio Morning Show. We'll be back
When
in
people
just a
stop
moment here
talking
on
to each other,
1540
society is on the
Edge
edge.
Radio Network, where
Let's
we
be
have
We work
conscious
our whole lives to support our families.
Edge is about
With
love,
one accident or illness, it can all
Edge
be
Radio is for everyone and
Now
about
there's a
everyone.
smart, affordable way to protect
Really?
your family.
Like
Go to
Middle Earth.
FindHealthBenefits.
I was thinking maybe they didn't went into a different dimension or something and they got lost and then
Yeah, well, then, so now that I open up that can of worms, and you guys are thinking about that, we're gonna take this break, and I don't know what your theory is on aliens. I don't know.
oh my God! Don't let me start! Don't let me start!
It looks like
Seeing an alien right here.
This is Friday.
Yes.
This is Friday morning, and Enrique has some torn. You gotta.
I got torn pants. I got torn pant legs.
Enrique over here
All right,
thick.
so we're gonna take a break. You're listening to the Edge Radio Morning Show. We'll be back
When
in
people
just a
stop
moment here on
talking to each other,
1540
society
AM.
is on the
Edge
edge.
Radio Network,
Let's
We work our whole lives to support our families. With one accident or illness, it can all be
Edge Radio is for everyone and about
There's a
everyone.
smart 66% of seniors spend more time shopping for cable TV than Medicare plans. Most say because it's just too confusing. Laws change every year. The wrong plan could cost you thousands and prevent you from seeing.
And good morning. You are listening to the Edge Radio Network here on 1540 AM, 101.7 FM. We are live here in the Heights. It's a little overcast, but it's going to be another balmy 94 degrees today, guys. There's, the ozone layers happen to be very high. We don't talk about ozone anymore. It seems like it just took a back seat to all the other
so many holes
stuff
in the ozone
that's going on. Yeah. And some people thought there were holes in the ozone theory, but we were talking about something just before the break that you all got all lit up about. So let me hear the theories. We were talking about the possibility of extraterrestrials, aliens.
First of all, you're looking at one.
You know what?
Looking at one. I'm an alien in the U.S.
And you have a card to prove it.
And you got a card to prove it.
A U.S. government card that labels me as an unauthorized alien. I'm telling you, I have never felt so close to E.T. before, but
You just want to stick your tongue out and grab somebody.
How many people go outside and they swear they saw something in the sky, come running up, and they like, oh my God, hey, man, I just saw a UFO. I saw a UFO. They want to contact me. Or like, I know my dad, my brothers, they all believe that they had alien encounters.
Really?
All of them?
Really? What did they say happened to them?
All of them. So they were outside, right? Probably smoking cigarettes,
or weed.
Or no, it's more like Reggie. They were smoking Reggie. Right? They were outside and then they see something in the sky like every other stoner. I want to say it's stoners, but most of them are. And oh my God, you see that zigzag pattern in the sky? Oh, you saw that? You saw that? Damn, there's still aliens out there, dog.
You know what?
But you don't think about all those people that were trying to rush Area 51, to release the aliens. And I think if there was a real life alien encounter, they wouldn't want to come to Earth. They wouldn't want to come here unless it was
not with the corona.
No, not with the corona. Not when it's 94 degrees outside.
An advanced civilization doesn't worry about things like coronavirus. All right, so you were raising your hands gleefully here. So what's your alien encounter? What happened?
Man, I watch Ancient Aliens all the time. There are so many different seasons of that now. And I am convinced that there is no way. I just think that to think that we're the only people in the universe, that's just so pretentious. Like, it's impossible. It's just narcissistic. Yeah. First of all, they have tombs with hieroglyphics, and it looks like planes and airplanes. How can you explain all of that in different statues from thousands and thousands of years ago with what looks like someone in like a space suit? Mm-hmm. But I think that has to do also with maybe some time travel and things like that. But I absolutely 100% believe that there are, different people in different dimensions and different planets. There's so many different planets. Yes, I don't necessarily think that they have to be wet and scathing, and they don't have to. I'm not saying that. They could just be regular people like you and I, not necessarily weird looking creatures and whatnot.
I wish they were.
But and I think I've seen different things that I can't explain. Just like
what do you see?
Just there was one time, several times, where there's something in the air. It's not a star because it's too close, and it's in the sky, and I'll see it from the south side of Houston, and still be able to see it when I get home on the north side of Houston, and it's just hovering. I don't know what in the world that is, and I've tried to like take a picture of it every time it happens, but yeah, I do absolutely. I'm one of those people.
I'm glad you're talking about it.
That believe that they're out there.
Okay, so I didn't want to talk about it because I didn't want to look crazy, but I actually had a first-hand encounter with it.
every game.
I swear, this is.
Do not play.
I'm not playing. This was like it messed me up as a child. I was 12. My brothers, we were probably driving back at a highway, from Cece's Pizza or something.
Okay.
We were like all fat, right? So we're driving, and it's nighttime. It's like 9 p.m. and we see same thing you said. Something moving in the air, something moving too quick, and I don't want to seem crazy to y'all, but I felt it like come up top of the car, and then everything turned white for a second. And then
this happened. You're not playing.
I hate saying this story.
Listen, man. There's no judgment here.
There's no judgment.
Because people,
as long as you're telling the truth.
I swear.
Okay.
Look, all right.
Because there's a joke coming.
Right.
No, there's not a joke.
Because I'm like, it's a punchline.
The white stuff, and then
white,
just finish releasing all over.
Right. It's kind of like you know, whenever you see like a dramatic scene of like somebody blowing up, you just like you see the white come up like slowly.
Yeah.
Right. And then afterwards, I looked at all my brothers and they were like, "Yeah, I felt that. Did everything go white for you?" And they were all like, not shocked, like, "Yeah, everything went white for me for a second too." And I was thinking it was my blood pressure at first.
Okay, so a 12-year-old is worried about his blood pressure. Is that from the tacos and the
I was fat. I'm talking about I was 5'2", 212, man.
Oh my God!
Did you say 5'2", 212?
That is crazy.
Thick. I was thick, man. But
hey, I'm 206. Calm down.
So you really saw a craft, and then a light came down from the craft.
And I hate even like
No.
I hate getting there. I hate thinking about because if they did take me in their ship, and if they are able, I was reading because they had like sites that we would go to in elementary school, like area51.com, and you see a bunch of like aliens and stuff, and you're like, damn, they're out there, right? They probably hear you. Like, I was so scared at night after that because I was like, if I think about them, then they're gonna come and kidnap me again. Like
it's gonna be a special. I can see you doing a whole shtick on this thing. You should just come out, and then you could say, and then it was like a Spanish alien. It was like, "Mira, pendejo, don't go with me. If you wanna get close, okay, pendejo, you wanna get close. I'm not gonna stop until you really scream and you call me daddy."
Oh no! This is a super Latino gay alien. LGBT IIQ alien.
LGBT. So this is crazy, and I'm okay. So I'm with you guys, and I don't have a confession like that,
right?
But they have been. It has been said that they do scan the humans. So you were probably just scanned, and they read your life forms, and then they moved on. But there are livestock, cows in particular, all over the world, that their entrails, specifically their reproductive organs, are gutted and removed from their bodies, and their carcasses are left to rot. All over the world, inaccessible places,
precision
absolute
cuts, surgical cuts,
and disappear. The belief is, this is scary, and you probably know what I'm going to say, that they're using those organs as a sac to crossbreed the animal and human species with themselves or other life forms that they have. They need a womb. They need a womb to put this in. So if I'm scaring the heck out of you people, I kind of forgot we had an audience that's probably thinking, he has lost his mind.
Oscar, so you're saying when I went to Walmart the other day and I saw the person in the cart that was sitting down to 600 pounds, that wasn't a human. That was.
It might have been a crossbreed of a cow and human.
It could have been
alien.
a jefe. ¿Cómo se dice? La vaca, ¿verdad? The cow.
La vaca, yeah. La vaca.
Man.
That's crazy.
That's insane.
I mean, and I'm always like literally looking for like it's kind of an inside joke when if somebody acts crazy or they look crazy, I'd be like, that is an alien.
That's an alien.
Like that has got to be an alien, or just someone again. I'm gonna try to make sure I'm not saying that I'm saying it, but another comedian said all those models that are just perfect and beautiful aliens.
Aliens, like the Kardashian girls.
Aliens,
huh?
Well, but they're not tall though. I have seen some really statuesque, tall, perfect looking people, and it's just like how?
Okay, so let's go down this rabbit hole for a minute. Okay, so if you think about the biblical allegory, you think about the Bible. You were a Bible reading woman for a long time, and there's a lot of Christians, and I want you guys to stay with me on this.
Right.
The Bible doesn't necessarily discount the possibility of extraterrestrials ever in the Bible. It doesn't. In fact, there's more evidence to substantiate than anything else. So, for an example, if you think about Noah's Ark, Noah's Ark was fascinating. They gave the dimensions, and then they said every animal on the planet was brought to in pairs and placed on there. So for 1 year, you have all these animals: elephants, giraffes, lions, tigers. How do you feed all of those animals? How do you maintain all of that? You'll say with God's Holy Spirit, that He put them in a hibernation. That's possible. But there's another possibility. There's a possibility that there were DNA samples that they were. Well, you realize that you can actually take the DNA of animals right now.
Right.
You can place them in a womb, just like artificial insemination, and you can grow a giraffe or an elephant. You would do it today, and we're fairly primitive compared to, let's say, an extraterrestrial. And also when the Earth, the 40 days and 40 nights came, if you look at the biblical allegory, it says that it called it the heavenly expanse, the watery expanse ruptured. The Earth had a bubble around it of water, and it actually had one temperature throughout the entire globe. When it ruptured, and for 40 days that rain began to fall, the North and South poles froze immediately. So they found woolly mammoths that were immediately like frozen. And for the first time, seasons came into being: winter, summer, fall, because it didn't exist before that. But there are numerous accounts, like for an example in the book of Ezekiel, where he talks about this heavenly chariot and wheels within wheels within wheels. He's describing a UFO.
It was a fiery chariot. Yes, that's exactly what Ancient Aliens, one of the episodes they were talking about.
The Mayan gods.
And there are some of the other books that talked about aliens, they were removed from the Bible. Yeah.
What were you going to say? The Mayans had numerous illustrations of men in rockets.
The sun god. Just the descriptions of like weird burning heads, and like they will also describe. They also describe some fiery chariots also, and this was like their religion. So like in their head, of course, they named them all, and I'm not familiar with most of them. Yeah, but it's similar also to the Egyptians, right? And we see the hieroglyphics. Yeah. And how do they build the pyramids?
How can you explain all those pyramids and all those different places all around the world?
Well, so this is really crazy, and I don't know if you guys have heard this. And for those of you who can research this, did you hear about Bosnia-Herzegovina?
No.
Okay.
Probably, but
okay. So this is crazy. This is recent. This is just the last, I think, 2018.
Okay. Then no.
In Bosnia-Herzegovina, they're at the base of the village. You have all these houses in these massive mountains, and there's 4 of them. they actually had a guy that took a drone and he was doing some unrelated stuff, but he had some geophysical background. And he realized that out of these 4 mountains, they were exactly symmetrically shaped in the form of pyramids with equilateral sides. And he said, is this a pyramid? And it was covered by foliage. So imagine a mountain that you would see that's covered by trees and foliage. But then they started doing some archaeological digging at the base of this mountain, and sure enough found that it was in fact the largest pyramid on the planet. It is 10 times larger than the Great Pyramid in Egypt. It is 20 times larger than the Aztec pyramids, because the mainstream media doesn't want people to know this stuff. Not only is they the Bosnia Herzegovinian government was immediately the world governments immediately came in, and they were trying to block any further research or study in that region. And what was really interesting,
wanted to get some of that alien technology.
Well, what was really interesting, as you say, alien technology, is that every pyramid actually has underground caverns that go down for miles and miles into the ground. Most people don't think about the other side of a pyramid. That's why they believe there are beings that are underneath the ground. But what was interesting about this Bosnian pyramid
the mole people
is that they measured the what's called a negative ion feed. And the negative ion feed was extremely strong. Negative ions is what gets inflammation out of our bodies. It's what stabilizes us. When you go on a beach or in a forest, your body is absorbing negative ions. That's why you feel so good when you come out. You feel so relaxed. It's the same thing, but this thing is super concentrated, and it's that way in every single pyramid around the world.
So you're saying if I go to one of these, I'm gonna feel super good.
Just you're gonna feel super good.
You don't even need to get. Don't even need to get. No, you don't have to have drugs. Just
I don't care if it's dark in here and I can't breathe. Like, I don't care.
Well, because they were saying that that they believed that they were hollow, and that some of the pyramids were possibly stations to
the two things.
Stations for the spaceships to refuel, basically.
Well, so two things. They say that it emits an energy outwards that communicates out into the universe, but it also emits a scalar energy. So scalar is fascinating, and most people don't understand it, but literally what it does is electricity fields are all around us, and Nikola Tesla discovered this.
Right.
Energy can be compressed and converted to electricity without being plugged into anything.
Right.
That's how you can have lights that are suspended in the air without having anything connected to it.
No wires.
Look at the tombs of the Egyptians. When you go down into those tunnels, there's no torch marks anywhere. It's physically impossible to be going 20, 30, 50, yards down into the earth with pitch black in the Egyptian era, presumably, right? And not have a torch or something. There's no burn marks, there's no soot, there's nothing there. And the reason is that they actually use that scalar energy to illuminate that entire passage.
Right.
And we still have the technology today, but we've chosen to use dirty fuel, because when Tesla presented that to Edison, Edison bought the patent, put a gag order on him, and buried it so that they could produce the coal and oil industry that we see today.
That's crazy. And I knew that I was right in thinking that aliens existed when Obama's hair turned white. I feel like that was when he was told, and that they took him to Area 51. And he was told, and presidents age, they all age pretty fast. And I think it's because of the information that they learn. Okay.
Did you see this recently happened where the government actually released photos of unidentified flying objects?
Yeah.
And they're honestly saying, yep, we don't know what these are, so do whatever you want to do with these.
But you know why? You know why they're doing that right now? Because the next thing is what they call false flags. Now, if they could approximate alien invasion, what would happen to the globe, to the whole world? Mm-hmm. They imagine a virus has everybody hiding indoors. What would an alien invasion look like? If you saw a graphic video of a laser beam just shooting and blowing some stuff up.
Oh man! First of all,
Ain't nobody going to work.
First of all, the world is gonna have,
is it?
And it's just a crazy, ridiculous concept, right? Because okay, so if you have a common enemy, then the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So if humanity has an outside enemy, and this is why like we're still so primal, and this enemy is blowing us up with lasers, then the world governments are going to unite. We're not just going to be the United States. Right. We're not going to be just El Salvador or Costa Rica. We're going to be the human race.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, that's deep, man. That is
extra deep.
It's like it takes like a crazy major catastrophe for everybody to feel like they're connected. They want to be a unit. 9/11. When 9/11 happened, everybody in New York was the happiest, kindest person. Are you okay? You want something to eat? But now,
now they're back to being New York.
Oh,
get out of my way!
So you spilled my coffee. Oh.
Yeah. And a coffee.
You spilled my coffee, not for nothing, right?
Right.
Yeah. No, so you're right. So if we had an alien attack, we'd be cool for a while until we got jealous at China or something. Because Xi Jinping pulled out a big rocket, and
I'll be like, yo, Central Park Karen, you're actually not that bad. We're all dying out there. Aliens are killing all of us. We can use your help.
That's right. So that would be a classic way to heal the planet, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, I know that's far. That's way out there in the South 40.
Yeah, because you're speaking it into existence right now. Costa Rica.
Hey, look, not for nothing. I'm just telling you what's going to happen. You don't want to believe me. The New York is like King Kong is going to crawl up on the Empire.
2020 has been a hard year. Kobe died. The coronavirus. The wars with Iran, right? The almost World War III.
Killer cops and
killer bees, protests, riots. If there is a year for alien invasions, it's this year.
It's this year. Just not today, because today is Juneteenth. So today is Juneteenth.
Yeah.
Aliens, I'm telling y'all now, don't do it.
Don't
do it today. Just Juneteenth. We can't do it.
All the days don't come today.
Yes. Of all the days, yeah. Because then,
So what would that look like if aliens invaded during the barbecue this evening on Juneteenth? What?
If aliens invaded, you take off the mask and it's actually a white supremacist.
It's actually a KKK. You're not alien.
You still have a pointy head, though.
Right.
So what does that look like?
Look. They at the barbecue, we still all get arrested because it'd be our fault. We all get arrested and be our fault. And somebody probably get shot, and not that an alien wouldn't even get shot. It would be just a normal black man just minding his business. He was just trying to just cook a little bit,
Just trying to get
exactly. Why you got Big Mama? You ain't got Big Mama and Junebug. Get the alien over there. They done came and just messed up everything we was trying to do.
I'm just cooking my collard greens. I'm about to put the bacon on there.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So yeah, that would be sad.
That'd be crazy.
I think it'd be cool if they just came and said, "Okay, black people are in charge now, so we're gonna change it."
Right, we're gonna switch this thing up.
We're gonna switch it up. Okay, we gave you white folks a chance. Let's see what you did. You raped the land. No. Right.
Did everything.
It would be cool if they put black people in charge and leave and never come back. But if they stay and they're like black people in charge, then the aliens are just gonna be another version of like white people.
I'm just wondering if the UFO is gonna have some rims on it. So
I think they're gonna be Tesla.
Yeah, that's right.
Tesla spaceships.
Yo, my UFO runs off Hennessy, dog.
You know what? Don't listen to them.
Oh my gosh. No. Well, it's an interesting premise, and the fact of the matter is that there is going to be something else that's going to come out, surprise, scare, bewilder, whatever. You're going to see it. And I can't say it's going to be aliens, but I can say it's going to be something because there has been a series of events that keep people off balance. And right now people think that there's what do you call it's like a mental, like a reset. It'll pop up in a minute because dissidence.
Dissidence. Okay.
It's a mental dissonance that's happening right now. It's a disruption, and when that starts to happen, people will accept more and more far out, crazy circumstances because they've already been stretched past what they believe is possible.
Right.
And when that starts to happen, they are now susceptible, especially through mainstream media, to be completely reconditioned into a whole new type of control system. So, we're gonna have to watch that. We're gonna seriously have to watch that.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Juneteenth. Tell us about Juneteenth.
Why you gonna make me tell you? You tell me. Do you know what Juneteenth is? You gonna look at me.
You
gonna look at me.
You have the Afro system.
You know what I mean? Because I got the Afro wig.
Bro,
I gotta explain Juneteenth.
It wouldn't be cool if I brought it up because it's Yo Day.
like she about Cinco de Mayo.
Right, that's true.
About some Cinco de Mayo.
That'll be a problem.
But so historically, in 1863, right? 1863, the Emancipation Proclamation was signed. However, the people in Texas did not find out about it.
They were free
for 2 more years until they traveled down to Galveston, and they let them know that you guys are free.
What are you doing?
You're no longer slaves.
Right.
For 2 years.
Right. And just imagine that day, like you sitting there, you working hard, and then you like. So I was off for the last 2 years. So I could. What kind of?
Imagine if you were in prison, right? And nobody tells you your sentence is over.
Exactly.
In the yard, bench pressing, eating ramen noodles.
You know what I'm saying? Trying to fight off girls.
And then out of nowhere, guards walking by. You're free.
Oh, that's right.
You're free.
By the way, you can go.
That's
by what? Oh, 2 years ago. We forgot.
Wow. That's crazy. So guys, this has been a blast. We're gonna be closing out the show at 9:30 this morning.
Okay.
We're gonna do a couple of things in studio here until right at around 11 a.m. I want you guys to join us again because Mr. Robert Reed, NBA champion, Houston Rocket, will be in the house with Mr. Mel Hewlett, Seattle Supersonics. I don't know what kind of surprises they have for us today, but whenever those giants come in the room, I think they're aliens sometimes.
I do. They are. I do. I think that too.
So this has been an amazing week to have you guys on set doing what you do. I love it. And folks, those of you who are enjoying this, I want you to share because this is the zany, crazy Morning Edge show.
Right. Yes,
and,
it is.
And I think you guys as comedians can take it to a whole other level. I'm totally stoked to have you in the house at Edge Radio Network.
Thank you.
Awesome. I was dancing. I'm going to show you the salsa show. I had a bachelorette out here, and we were dancing, and she said that she told me she felt my sexual energy. I didn't know what that meant. And she said, "Yeah, right." I was like, "Damn straight."
Right.
Anyway, folks. On that note, I didn't mean to end it on that note. On that note,
yes, he did.
Yes, I did. My number is I like long walks on the beach. So we're gonna a hot mess. We're gonna end it there, folks. Thank you so much for joining us. This is the Edge Radio Network here on 1540 AM, 101.7 FM. Be sure to share,
yes,
and go to edgeradionetwork.com. Plenty of surprises, and stay tuned. At 11, we'll be back with Athletes United. Thank you, guys.
See you.
See you in the house.
Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome. I was dancing. I'm going to show you the salsa show. I had a bachelorette out here, and we were dancing, and she said that she told me she felt my sexual energy. I didn't know what that meant. She said, "You're right." I was like, "Damn straight."
Right.
Anyway, folks, on that note, I didn't mean to end it on that note.
Yes, he did.
Yes, I did. My number is I like long walks on the beach. So